Hey everyone, I'm Reagan Black, and I wanted to bring you some more inspiration for your writing journey today. And today I want to talk a little bit about fear. And a lot of times we get all excited about what we want to write and the project we're working on, and everything's fantastic. And then we sit down and our fears creep in, our doubts, our worries, the what ifs, oh no. All of that creeps in, and it derails our writing time. So there are some very common fears about writing. There's things that I go through with every book. I'm just absolutely sure at some point or another, every book that I've written is in the process of writing it. I'm absolutely certain it's crap. There are a couple different reasons for those kinds of things, and I've learned through the process of writing more than 30 novels at this point how to get through it. I've learned that that's just a standard piece of my process, and I've learned that the key is to just power through. But a lot of very common fears. A lot of us wonder, oh my goodness, what if it's no good? What if what I'm writing is no good and it stinks? Well, to be honest, you're too close to your writing to know if it's any good or not. Your job as the writer is to get the thoughts, the concepts, the information on the page, to shape that to the best of your ability, and then to ask readers what they think. Okay, then you have to send it out in the world and have somebody give you feedback. And it's really not until you get that feedback that you'll start to know what's good or what needs work. Okay, so if you're in the middle of a writing project and you're just absolutely certain it's no good, it's too soon to have that conversation. So if that fear creeps in and you're in the middle of your process and that fear is, it's no good, I should just give up, ignore that voice and keep going. You might even want to make yourself a note about what you're afraid of, but then keep going, because you won't know what's good or not until you're done. Okay, that goes for poetry, it goes for articles, it goes for anything. You won't know until you're done. All right, so finish first. Another real big fear that people often have is what next? You're in the middle of the book, and what next can be two factors. The first factor is, what do I do with it when it's done? What comes next? What comes next when it's done? Okay, well, first of all, it has to get done. Okay, that's really the key. You'll notice a theme here with both is it any good and what comes next. The answer is to finish. Finish your project. Again, if it's a poem, if it's a blog, if it's an article, if it's a book, finish first. Finish first, and then you'll know what to do next. There are some books that I know need to go through a publisher, and there are other books I write that I know are better off if I just launch them into the world on my own when they're edited and packaged properly. Okay, each project is a little different, and you don't know what's next for your project until it's done. You really don't. So once you write it and once you revise it to the best of your ability, then of course you need to send it out for feedback from an editor. Make sure then that you incorporate those changes, get some beta readers, whatever works for you. You take that feedback, that's what's next. And then the next step is, what do I do with it? Well, then you have a product to know what to do to make those decisions. You can't say, ooh, what's next, when you don't even know what you have. Does that make sense? So you need to finish. Okay. The second aspect of the what's next is a lot of times we get into the book, there's a fear of finishing. If I'm done with the story, do I have anything else? What will be next? That used to be something I dealt with all the time. I would slow down as I neared the completion of a project because I was afraid that I wouldn't have another good idea. And so I would hesitate and I would rein it in, and I wouldn't want to finish this project because then I would have to face whether, the big unknown of, did I have another idea? Okay, so a lot of times if what next is creeping in and derailing your writing time, you make yourself a note about what that fear is and address it. If it's a what next about how to publish the book, make a list of questions, set it aside, finish the book. If it's a what next idea, again, jot that down, set it aside, and keep at it. Again, you have to finish. I used to have that fear of what's next. Now I'll know I'm really close to wrapping up a project because other ideas will start percolating in my head, and I have to write those down and push those aside because those want to be what's next, and they have to wait until this is done. Okay, so again, a lot of times just finishing your project, no matter the length, no matter the audience, will help you derail a lot of those fears. It'll cut those fears off at the knees once you've finished. All right. Now, another big fear of of writers, a lot of times another thing that will derail it is when you're writing, it sounds familiar. Oh, it sounds too familiar. Everybody's written about this topic. Everybody's written about this premise. It's not new enough. You can't let that fear derail you either, because you are unique. And your perspective on whatever the topic or premise is unique. If you had a room full of 50 authors and you gave them all the exact same writing prompt and information, you would come up with 50 different stories. Okay? Every author brings something unique to the page. So just because it's your take on in an old topic, that's okay. If it's your take on an old premise, that's okay. That's exactly what it should be. Your perspective will infuse the writing project. So don't let that whole concept of everybody's written this before, or this has been written 1,000 times, don't let that derail you, because your perspective, your life experiences, your viewpoint, those all matter, and your readers want to know what you have to say about it, okay? So don't worry about that piece of the puzzle, all right? So again, these are just very common fears. If there are other fears that get under your skin and derail your writing time, leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. Let's work it out. Okay? Don't be afraid of that. And if you need more resources for your writing journey, be sure to reach out to me at reaganblack.com or elsewhere on social media. There's plenty of resources over there at the website, but you can catch up with me at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There's all kinds of ways to reach me right here on YouTube. Lots more resources and videos as well. So I hope that's been helpful for your writing journey. And again, I'm happy to help out if I can. So don't be afraid to ask. We're all in it together, and it's much easier if we ask for help and reach out when we need it. Okay? In the meantime, write well, live the adventure, and I'll be back again soon. Take care.